I was whirling around the sort of back blocks of, is that Collingwood over there? What is that? Fitzroy-ish the other day. And I was driving past the cemetery and I saw a banner flapping in the breeze. And it said, new plots, new prestige plots now available. And I thought many things. How is there new land available in there? How does that work? And what's prestige? And who do I speak to about this? And it turns out who I speak to is Jane Grover, CEO of Melbourne Cemetery. Hi, Jane.
Good morning, Michelle. And just look, Melbourne General Cemetery, the locals will call it the Carlton Cemetery.
Okay, thank you, Carlton. Righto. I mean, stunning spot close to the city, great amenities, public transport for days, great views. I mean, how do we get our hands on some land in that beautiful spot?
Now, look, let's go backwards before we go forward.
Okay.
So I think a little bit of history would be great for the listeners. So Melbourne was opened on the 1st of June in 1853. So it's 157 years old. And, you know, anything old has a few secrets, doesn't it? And there's always a little bit of curiosity with age. And so when you think about 153 years and you think about the people that have been buried at Melbourne, from the food scene, from the social scene, from the political scene, you think about it also cared for people that had no money, pauper burials. It really has a significant amount of history. And so with history and looking after Melbourne General Cemetery, or as the locals will call it, the Carlton Cemetery, what we discovered, and the trust, the Southern Metropolitan Cemeteries Trust, was formed in 2010, and Daniel Andrews actually did the legislation because he wanted to make sure that memorial parks and cemeteries are sustainable, they're open to the public, that they welcome all, and they actually represent the diversity of the community that we serve, and we're here to serve the community. So that's sort of, I've gone backwards a bit around the history, and with age, there's always secrets, but also too, the things that we do are slightly different to 153 years ago.
Are you warming us up for how it is that you've been able to release new land in...
How did you know?
In Carlton Cemetery. How is it? How is it possible? It's okay. We're grown-ups. We can handle it, Jane.
So breaking news. Breaking news, Michelle, is that we've been going through our records, and over the last couple of years, as we've been going through and updating our records, but also too, people have been coming in, maybe second or third generation, and says, my grandmother or my mother is buried in Methodist C, an old part of the cemetery. And I notice there's a small piece of land and it doesn't have a monument on it. And is it sold? And we, as a duty to make sure that we actually serve the Victorian community, we have a duty to go and investigate that. And through that investigation, and there is a process, and I think it's really important that everyone understands the process, that we check the register of burials. And so, as you can imagine, 153 years ago, they were all manual. And so we have to find those. We have to check the purchase of the records, and we have those. And then we have to see who actually bought them. And could you imagine trying to find someone that purchased a grave 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 years ago? And if they bought them when they're 30 and we're looking at graves that are 75 years, that were purchased 75 years and older, they would be in their hundreds, late 90s or early hundreds. So through that inquiry, we check our records, and then we have another process. And after that process is that we advertise by the paper on our website that these are the graves that are available and give the location. And then we advertise for 14 days, and then after 14 days, if no one actually comes to contact us, because the records are so old that usually the person is no longer there or they're moved, we keep them for 45 days, so we won't touch the site.
Oh, okay.
And then you might think that we would use ground penetrating radar. We don't. We actually do a manual dig. And so we dig the site out and to check that the records, because the records may not be correct.
To check that it's empty. No, I thought it would be manual. We're talking to Jane Grover, by the way, CEO of Melbourne Cemetery, about the fact that if you drive past there at the moment, you'll see a banner advertising plots for sale, new land for sale. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who thought, how? How on earth in that beautiful old cemetery have they found new land? And Jane is explaining to us the process.
So we dig. So we do a dig, and then once we've absolutely 100% confirmed that the records, that they were sold but no one was interned there, our duty for the community is to make sure that if it's important to their values and traditions and customs and their second or third generation, that we make sure that we offer that to that family for sale.
I must admit, Jane, I thought, honestly, it must be one of those things where 100 years or something after a grave is used, you're allowed to reuse it. Is that, that's gross, right?
No, that is so. I'm going to give you another fact, listeners. In Victoria, we look after the grave forever, so that's perpetuity.
Oh.
So if you buy a grave with us, and you buy a grave in Victoria, you have it. We look after that grave forever. So with cremation and memorial, so when someone's cremated, you can either buy inter them for 25 years. That's called limited tenure, or you can inter them for 100 years. It's a bit like graves, forever. So we offer choice. So we look after that grave. So everyone that's in Melbourne, the 300,000 residents that we have, are there forever.
Oh, this is looking better and better, Jane. I'm so sorry. We're running out of time. But before I let you go, can you give us a price range?
Okay, from $14,000 up to $30,000. The other thing that people need to know, in each grave you can bury 3 people.
Oh, God, what a bargain for Carlton. I mean, seriously, Jane.
Location.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much from Melbourne Cemetery, Jane Grover.